as we await the arrival of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II.
God, stand down! Hi!
May I take the opportunity to acknowledge the presence of some traditional rulers who are here to grace the occasion. We are fortunate to have in our midst King Professor Oboade Noche Odaifio Welenchi III. He is the president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs and the Nungwa Manche. So you are welcome to this morning's historic ceremony. We also acknowledge the presence of Nene Tetteh Waka II from Pram Manche. He is also the vice president of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. We have Ni Ahelele Nuno III. He is the Abola Manche. Oblimpon Weche Kojo II, English Alata Manche, Jamestown. You are welcome. Nene Osragbo Jama VII, Ningo Manche. Na Abeka the First, Queen Mother of Abeka, Ni Botefio Botekwe Afodi, the second Divisional Chief of Nungwa, Ni Alabi Petempe, the fourth Divisional Chief Nungwa, Ni Bote Okplen Jalensi, the second Divisional Chief of Nungwa, Ni Bote Sango, the second Divisional Chief Nungwa, Na Kwale Nye, the third Divisional Manye Nungwa, others are Na Afoko Meni Maki, the second Divisional Manye, Nungwa. Na Momo Meni Efebo, the second. We also have Asafwache Ayiku Totima, the fourth. We also have Nilayi Akwete, the 10th, Katamanso Manche. And we have Numo Te Nate, Paramount Chief. He is also the family head, Ningo Traditional Area. You are all welcome to the historic visit of His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Asantehene.
Yeguswa ewo atwemu yemu ede chain Otumfuo Osei Tutu otoso mienu ewo police atena yekese mu eha na ohwe infoni a etwagu ya na yemma omo ebetusa amayede agi Otumfuo akwaba aba atena yemu ha
to
pay a courtesy call on Ailey, Inspector General of Police of the Ghana Police Service. And this is happening here live at the National Police Headquarters in Accra. A number of activities are expected to mark this historic day. What you see on your screens now are the police officers who form a special guard of honor who are waiting for the arrival of the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. You have on your screens now some dignitaries as well who are also gathered here to mark the occasion. Also here are some government officials. That is how the streets in front of the Ghana Police Service is looking, where you have officers lined up at the entrance of the Ghana Police Service headquarters, all are waiting.
Men whose leadership, sacrifice, and service laid very strong foundation for the Ghana Police Service as we know it today.
And you have there.
We are deeply honored to have with us retired Inspector General of Police, whose experience and legacy continue to inspire professionalism and excellence within the Ghana Police Service. In no particular order, we are privileged to have with us Inspector General of Police retired Mr. Patrick
the Inspector General of Police himself,
Inspector General of Police
Christian Tetteh
retired
Yohuno,
Dr. John Kudalo, Inspector General of Police retired
former
Mr.
IGP John
Otumfuo
Kudalo is also here.
Inspector General of Police retired Nana Owusu
is also in our midst, together with
General
other
of Police retired
former Inspector
Mr.
Generals
David Asante
of Police.
Apitu. We also have with us this morning Commissioner of Police retired
here.
Member of the Police Council.
You hear a loud response from the now. Rose Atinga has been introduced to the crowd. And there you have it. Some very popular names and faces within the hierarchy who have worked diligently to serve the country. A former Commissioner of Police, Mr. Nathan Kofi Boakye, you see in your shot right behind, sitting behind the IGP, draped in his...
Mr. Nathan Kofi Boakye, Director of Operations at the Presidency and member of the Police Council. With us this morning is also Commissioner of Police, Mrs. Mamiya Tiwara Dodankwa, Technical Advisor to the Minister for the Interior.
Hello. Others are Deputy Minister for the Interior, Honorable Ebenezer Oklete Telabi is also here to grace the occasion. We also have the Chief Director at the Ministry for the Interior, Mrs. Dore Penny Annan. She's also here to grace the occasion. We have the former Ashanti Regional Minister and former Chieftaincy and Culture Minister, Honorable S.K. Buafo, is also here to grace the occasion. And we have Alhaji Abdul Sinlia from Sync Global. You are all welcome to this morning's ceremony. morning's historic visit by His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu is being carried live on GH Police TV. We are live on DSTV channel 362 and also live on all terrestrial channels. And we are also live on Facebook, live on Instagram, and we are also live on X.
I want to at this moment specially welcome the Inspector General of Police retired, Mr. Ernest Owusu-Poku. Sir, you're welcome. Especially the presence of Commissioner of Police retired, Reverend David Neni Ampabenyin, former Director General, Public Affairs Directorate. We also acknowledge the presence of all regional police commanders from across the 25 regions of the Ghana Police Service. We appreciate your presence and time with us this morning.
Kanya say na lebo na enya abedru enti ye hwe sante a ato a ebeya na eye
is the parade background. As we are told, the Otumfuo is about to arrive. You have the police motorcade in your shots now, making their way here to the parade ground at the National Police Headquarters, as the motorcade escorts the convoy of the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, who is making his way here to the parade ground to mark that iconic courtesy call on the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetteh Yohuno, of how the streets look like as the streets have for traffic for the convoy of the Otumfuo to make its way here to the police headquarters to mark this historic visit. We have in attendance here the Inspector General of Police himself, Christian Tetteh Yohuno, also is the Deputy Minister for the Interior, Ebenezer Oakley, as well as COP Kofi Boakye, who is now in charge at the presidency, also here. We also have a number of traditional rulers from across the Greater Accra region and even beyond, all to welcome the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. You have the vehicles making their way in now, lined up at the entrance of the Ghana Police Service. And every single individual here is upstanding in honor of the arrival of the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II. You see the parade ground ready, the guard of honor ready. Those begin to arrive. The dignitaries, including former Inspector Generals of Police, are all here. And we know that this session of the meeting, which is the public session, would mark the first event, as there is a second phase also coming up, which is a closed-door meeting between the IGP, former IGPs, as well as the Otumfuo himself.
Is being received by the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Christian Tetteh Yohuno.
You have in your shots there the parade ground. The Otumfuo's convoy has just made its way into the police headquarters here. And you have in your shots there chiefs, the media, all standing, all waiting as the Otumfuo, Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II makes his way out to meet the kind regards of the IGP himself, who will make their ways to the parade ground and do the inspection of the guard of honor. And there you have it, the Otumfuo in your shots there. Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu there with his dignitaries making their way now into the parade ground as the horns of tradition an atmosphere of himself right by his right hand as they make a slow procession to the high table or the podium where the Otumfuo, the IGP, the traditional rulers, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II.
On behalf of the Inspector General of Police and members of the Police Management Board, we welcome His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the Asantehene, to the National Police Headquarters. Our friends from the media, please kindly pave way. Pave way. Pave way. Please kindly pave way and take your position at the designated place to allow the guard please, our friends from the media, kindly pave way. Leave the space.
Royal salute!
Kindly please take your seat. Kindly let us take our seat. Let us now pave way for the guard commander to pay the appropriate compliment to His Royal Majesty as we continue with the rest of the program. Please kindly be on your feet as we take the general salute.
Royal salute! Present arms!
Please kindly take your seat as the guard commander, assistant superintendent of police, Kafui Ajiman, marching briskly towards His Royal Majesty to invite him to inspect the guard of honor mounted to pay the appropriate courtesy to His Royal Majesty.
Good morning, Your Royal Majesty. Guard of honor formed up, made up of one other officer, 96 rank and file, with the police ceremonial band in attendance, ready for inspection. Assistant Superintendent of Police, Kafui Ajiman, reporting Your Royal Majesty.
Guard Commander has invited the Royal Majesty to inspect the guard mounted to pay the appropriate courtesy We are reminded that this program, this ceremony is being broadcast live on GH Police TV, on DSTV channel 362, And we are also live on all terrestrial channels, live on Facebook, we are live on Instagram, and we are also live on X. Majesty is inspecting the all-female guard mounted to pay the appropriate courtesy for his historic visit to the National Police Headquarters. The guard commander is Assistant Superintendent of Police, Kafui Ajiman. She is ably supported by Assistant Superintendent of Police, Joyce Ofori, and our guard Sergeant Major is in the person of PW Sergeant Juliana Akowa. And also to support the guard is the police band conducted by Deputy Superintendent of Police Felix Osei The bandmaster is Chief Inspector Godson Prime. And the drum major is Chief Inspector Daniel Ada. Majesty has just finished with the inspection of the guard and now walking towards the days
Your Royal Majesty, section over. May I please have the permission to march off the line? Yes, Your Royal Majesty.
the guard commander, Assistant Superintendent of Police Kafui Ajima has sought permission
Your Royal
from His
Majesty,
Royal Majesty
inspection over. May
to
I
march
please
off the
have
guard
the
and
permission
same
to
has
march
been
off the
granted.
guard? Yes, Your Royal Majesty.
The guard commander, Assistant Superintendent of Police Kafui Ajima has sought permission from His Royal Majesty to march off the guard and same has been granted.
Shout! Dead! Out! Royal
Shall we
salute!
please be upstanding to take the royal salute?
Dead! Out! Shout! Dead! Out! Royal salute!
Shall we please be upstanding to take the royal salute?
Dead! Out! Shout! Dead! Show dead! March up in column of foot. Move to the right in column of foot. Close again! March!
Please kindly take your seat. Thank you.
Form! Relax! God will march up in column of foot. Move to the right in column of foot. Right! Turn! Left! Quick! God! By the left! Quick! March!
That is the guard commander, Assistant Superintendent of Police Kafui Ajiman. Marching of the guard, signifying that the appropriate compliment has been paid to His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the Asantehene. Also supporting the guard this afternoon
Right! Right!
is the police band conducted by Deputy Superintendent of Police Felix Osei Mabua. The band master
God of honor!
is Chief Inspector
Front!
Goksin Cry. Our drum major is Chief Inspector Daniel Ada. Indeed, historic. That is an all-female guard of honor. All-female guard of honor. award them to the policeman conducted by DSP Felix Osei Tutu. Let's give it to them. Indeed, they've done well. At this point, we will take the next item on the program, which is the welcome remarks, and that will be given by the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Christian Tetteh Yohuno.
That is the latest way I can speak. Okay. No problem. Your Royal Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the President of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, King Professor Otumfuo Osei Tutu III Nugwamanche, representatives of the President of the Ghana Traditional Council, members of the Police Council, retired Inspectors General of Police, Deputy Interior Minister, Honorable Ebenezer Okete Labi, the Chief Director at the Ministry of Interior, Mrs. Doreen Annan, Director of Operations at the Presidency, COP Mr. Kofi Boachi retired, the Technical Advisor to the Minister of Interior, Mrs. Mamiya Adodankwa, members of the Police Management Board, Nananom, Nime, Name, senior officers and men, the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with profound honor, humility, and great national pride that we welcome His Majesty, the Asantehene, and his entourage to the Ghana Police Headquarters today. Words alone cannot fully express the joy and privilege we feel in witnessing and hosting the great Asante Kingdom on this historic visit. This gesture is not only symbolic, it is unprecedented, a moment that will be engraved permanently in the institutional memory of the Ghana Police Service and indeed in the annals of our nation's security architecture. Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, today's gathering invites us to revisit history. Long before the advent of modern European-style policing, African societies, particularly the Asante Kingdom, had well-established systems of law, order, and justice. The Ahifie policing system, administered through the Ashanti courts, was one of the earliest forms of organized policing in this land. These traditional mechanisms ensure social order, dispute resolution, and community safety through customs deeply understood and respected by the people. With the introduction of colonial policing, these indigenous systems were not erased, but rather blended into emerging state structures. The fusion of traditional authority with modern policing concepts helped shape the policing we know in Ghana today. Your Majesty, Nime, Name, ladies and gentlemen, as the revered occupant of the Golden Stool, you have not only preserved these values, but also modernized and strengthened them. Your consistent support for the Ghana Police Service, especially in the Ashanti region, has been both fatherly and exemplary. I recall that you have hosted several Inspectors General of Police and police leadership over the years, offering counsel, guidance, and encouragement, with doors always open to us. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Chief Constable of this country, I must commend Your Majesty and highlight your role in peace building and conflict resolution, which has had a profound impact on national security. Mentioning your exceptional mediation skills, which have restored peace in numerous conflicts across our nation, compels me to describe you as the King Solomon of our time. Your wisdom, patience, and moral authority have brought calm where tension once prevailed, and unity where division once threatened our peace. Specifically, you chair the Committee of Eminent Chiefs that successfully resolved the long-standing Dagbon chieftaincy crisis, restoring peace and stability to the area. Your mediation efforts in Yendi, and more recently in the protracted Boku conflict, to mention a few, have yielded practical recommendations that continue to guide security operations. Today, the relative calm in Boku has significantly enhanced policing efforts and community confidence. It is worth noting that chiefs, as custodians of land, culture, and customs, remain indispensable partners in maintaining law and order. In this regard, Your Majesty, you have personally intervened in numerous land and chieftaincy disputes in the Ashanti region, restoring sanity, reducing violence, and making policing more effective. These actions reaffirm the constitutional recognition of chieftaincy under the 1992 Constitution, which recognizes traditional authority as an integral part of Ghana's governance system. In the context of illegal mining, your directive urging chiefs to take firm action against it in their jurisdictions demonstrate the continued relevance of traditional leadership in addressing modern security challenges, and this is emulating. Your Royal Majesty, beyond peace and security, your contribution to national development is monumental. Through your humanitarian support to the helpless through the Otumfuo Education Fund, thousands of vulnerable but brilliant students across Ghana have received opportunities to pursue education. As Chancellor of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Your Majesty continues to bridge tradition and academia, ensuring that cultural heritage coexists with innovation and research. In the area of culture, diaspora relations, and global influences, you are a global symbol of African culture. Through cultural preservation, initiatives such as the Menchia Palace Museum and your engagement with the African diaspora, you have projected Ashanti and the Ghanaian culture far beyond our borders. These efforts have strengthened diaspora relations, enhanced Ghana's international profile, promoted tourism, and positioned our tradition as subjects of global academic and cultural study. Your Majesty, your presence at the police headquarters today marks a turning point. This historic honor is one that the Ghana Police Service and our fellow citizens hold in the highest esteem and do not take it lightly. The Ghana Police Service recognizes that, over time, we have relied excessively on imported European policing systems. This visit challenges us to return to history, re-embrace indigenous knowledge systems, and strengthen community and tradition-based policing. Let me say that your visit today will deepen cooperation between the Ghana Police Service and the traditional authorities across the country. not only within the Ashanti Kingdom, but nationwide. Your address today will serve as a blueprint and working document for strengthening relations between law enforcement and traditional governance. Moving forward, the police service will study and integrate traditional culture, customs, and local governance systems into our training, orientation, and reorientation programs. This will help the average police officer better understand the socio-cultural dynamics of the communities we serve and police more effectively with empathy, respect, and legitimacy. Your Majesty, your visit is a great honor to every man and woman in the Ghana Police Service. It will leave a lasting legacy, not only in brick and mortar, but in mindset, policy, and practice. We reaffirm our commitment to upholding state laws while respecting customary laws, and to build a security system that reflects the history, culture, and aspirations of Ghanaian people. May this historic visit mark the beginning of a deeper, enduring partnership between the Ghana Police Service and the Transitional Authority for Peace, Development, and National Unity. Once again, we thank you, Your Majesty, for this royal visit and the honor done us. God bless the Ashanti Kingdom. God bless our traditional authorities. God bless the Ghana Police Service. And God bless our beloved country, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you very much, Inspector General of Police, Mr. Christian Tetteh Yohuno, for the welcome remarks. We will now invite the police band to give us a musical interlude. Thank you.
Majority of them cannot be majority of them cannot.
Address by the Inspector General of Police, where he raised a number of issues, starting with acknowledging the role of the significance of this particular visit, and
His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the Asantehene, to give his address. A round of applause, please. A round of applause, please.
The Inspector General of Police, Dr. Christian Tetteh Yohuno, the President of the Regional House of Chiefs of Greater Accra, my dear brother, senior officers and men and women of the Ghana Police Service here assembled, traditional rulers here assembled, distinguished guests, fellow citizens of our beloved Republic. Manshia has been pleased to enjoy a productive working relationship with the Ghana Police Service over the years. But this is the first time we have had the opportunity of visiting what I will call the engine room or the heartbeat of the service, thanks to the initiative. Thanks to the initiative and kind invitation of our son, the Inspector General of Police. We are deeply humbled by the extraordinary courtesies extended to us this morning. Watching the ladies' parade, I thought I should have worn my police dress to be here. Our plea of the IGP to give me a police dress so next time when I come, I can be a policeman. But this honor is not intended to me alone, but duly shared with the entire community of traditional rulers who are the guardians of culture. I'm pleased to be joined by NI President and other traditional council members. I hope they share this honor with all of us. It is truly inspiring to survey the amazing lineup of the top brass who not only make up the entire command of the Ghana Police Service, but represent over a century of dedicated and exceptional service to the nation. And whilst I was walking in, I saw former IGPs that I've dealt with, and I'm glad that they are here today. Interestingly, as far back as getting to 27 years, my first police ADC, I saw him now, husband rated, he's now Nana from Bonketia. He was my first ADC who was looking after me. 26 years ago. I don't know what rank he has now, but he was my ADC at Meshia at that time. This is not a routine or a mere ceremonial visit. It is intended to be a landmark event, marking a moment in history where two ancient responsibilities meet to begin a momentous conversation. The guardianship of values and the enforcement of law. One institution draws this authority from ancestral memory. The other draws its mandate from the Constitution. Yet both exist for one sacred task, the preservation of order, dignity, and peace in society. Before we proceed upon the historic journey, let me, in the spirit of the new year, convey a message of glad tidings to the gallant men and women who make up the Ghana Police Service. We come with abiding gratitude to each member of the service, from the lowest constable to the top leadership gathered here today, for your selfless sacrifices to keep us safe over the years. And we bring you hope for progress and prosperity in the years to come. The Ghana Police Service is one of the institutional legacies bequeathed to us by our former colonial rulers. From the first Ghanaian who took over the mantle of leadership from the departing colonial commander, the highly distinguished Erasmus Ransford Tewia Majite, to the energetic leadership assembled here today. The police service has gone through many challenging epochs. Changing political circumstances have impacted on the service in different ways. But it is fair to say that through it all, the service has maintained a level of commitment and professionalism we should be proud of. Whenever and wherever you have been called upon to undertake international duties, you have acquitted yourselves with full credit. The greatest pride of Ghanaians today is that our nation is recognized in the world as an oasis of peace in an environment of turbulence. The international community widely acclaims us for the safety in our streets. If we take pride in our climate of peace and accept the plaudits of the world for the safety in our streets, we cannot fail to acknowledge the crucial role of the frontline protectors of our peace and security. When we snuggle in our comfortable beds at night, we cannot forget that there are thousands of our sons and daughters battling with mosquitoes while dutifully protecting us from the snares of criminal minds. And while we trudge along our motorways, whether in our shining limousines or the humble trotro or aboboya and praja, we cannot forget that there are again thousands of our sons and daughters keeping guard in the most inhospitable spots just to make sure we arrive safely at our destinations. The truth is not in us if we fail to acknowledge that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to the blue uniform for the safety we cherish. So today we say Aiko to the police for faithful service to the nation. Aiko for your selfless sacrifices in the most difficult terrains. Aiko for the safety in our streets. And Aiko for selflessly standing guard while we sleep.
So,
as I have already mentioned, the Ghana Police Service is one of the legacies of our colonial past. But long before the first police uniform was sewn, communities had learned how to live together. Before courts were built, disputes were settled. Before statutes were written, wrong was already understood.
So,
custom was the first law. Culture was the first constitution. It taught restraint before punishment, responsibility before rights, and harmony before victory. It reminded people that their actions did not end with themselves, that every deed echoed through family, lineage, and memory.
So,
in those days, a child feared disappointing an elder more than facing authority. A man thought twice before wrongdoing, not because of arrest, but because shame would outlive him. Conduct was shaped long before crime could take root. That is the quiet power of culture.
So,
when culture is strong, crime struggles to breathe. When culture collapses, law enforcement is forced to compensate. No number of officers, no matter how disciplined, no matter how well equipped, can replace a society that has lost its moral compass.
So,
law enforcement functions best where people already believe that order is worth protecting. This is why we have been pleased to join hands with Dr. Tetteh Yohuno, the Inspector General of Police, to initiate this conversation. It has been most useful at this point in time to engage with an IGP steeped in history and culture and able to appreciate the essential interplay between the two.
So,
he is aware of the extent to which the colonial authorities relied on traditional authorities for the maintenance of law and order. Indeed, you know that the British were content to make domestic law and order a joint function between law enforcement and traditional rulers.
So,
when the Asantehene nation became part of the new nation state of the Gold Coast, the Asantehene was allowed to keep and maintain his own police. Ahemfie police had all the authority of the colonial police well into the onset of independence. Along the original Gold Coast colony, one of the most eminent chiefs was Nene Azuma Tekole, the corner of Menyakrobo, who in his life played a key role in the preservation of law and order.
So,
it is no wonder that Kroboland gave us the first Ghanaian head of the police, the eminent Teria Majite, who was to go on to serve as leader of opposition in parliament.
So,
and it is no surprise that the seed of the past continues to flower in our incumbent IGP.
So,
the lessons of history suggest that we can build a safer, more peaceful society by conscious effort to bring the guardians of culture and the protectors of law ever closer together, to create an interlocking mechanism based on the cardinal principle that culture cannot do without the police and the police cannot succeed without culture.
So,
culture without law becomes nostalgia, beautiful stories with no teeth. Law without culture becomes false, effective but brittle. One shapes the heart, the other restrains the hand. A society that restrains only the hand while neglecting the heart merely postpones disorder. As the king and embodiment of one of Africa's great enduring cultures, I've seen culture at its finest, and I have also seen it at its worst. I've opened up the deliberations of Asantehene and our traditional councils to the global media so the world can see how genuine customs resolves disputes peacefully, preserving relationships and dignity. I've also seen how distorted tradition may be used to justify violence and impunity.
So,
what we have seen and done reinforces my belief that when authority, traditional or otherwise, employs disorder as a tool, it has abandoned legitimacy. Custom was never designed to protect criminals. It was designed to prevent crime. Every culture in Ghana provides a formula for resolving disputes, and it is only when our fidelity to cultural values fail that disorder takes over.
Zo.
True tradition aligns with justice. It does not compete with it. This is why the role of the Ghana Police Service is indispensable. I recall that Christian only recently assumed the position of Inspector General of Police under a cloud at a time when public expectations of the police were high and patience was thin. Within this short period, the impact of leadership has been felt, and we see a style reflecting essential element in law enforcement: calm authority anchored in professionalism.
Zo.
The greatest victory of law enforcement is prevention, and prevention begins long before police sirens sound.
Zo.
It begins in homes, and it begins in homes where discipline is taught, in communities where elders are respected, in cultures where wrongdoing is socially discouraged before it becomes legally punishable. This is where culture performs its most important work.
Zo.
In a society where values are strong, the police officer is not viewed as an adversary, but as a partner. The uniform commands respect not because it carries force, but because it represents shared principles.
Zo.
Now imagine a society where values have collapsed. In such a place, the police officer becomes a symbol of oppression. The law becomes an external imposition, and crime becomes defiance masquerading as freedom. The difference between the two societies is not the number of laws on the books, it is the presence or absence of culture.
Zo.
It should be obvious to us, therefore, that the alignment of cultural values with the values of law should be the first step towards crime prevention. Our visit today sets us up on a journey towards crystallizing the alignment of values and sends a powerful national message. The tradition and modern law enforcement are not rivals struggling for relevance. They are collaborators safeguarding the same future.
Zo.
When traditional authority respects legal authority, communities stabilize.
Zo.
When police respect local customs, cooperation deepens.
Zo.
When both communicate openly, crime loses its hiding place.
Zo.
If law alone can save society, then countries with the thickest law books will have no problems, no prisons at all. Yet even prisons have rules and still require values. The truth is simple, even if uncomfortable. No society can outsource morality entirely to the state and expect peace.
Zo.
Together, we must raise citizens, not just enforce laws. Therefore,
Zo.
I have come to join you to call together for deeper institutionalized collaboration between traditional authorities and the Ghana Police Service. Let chiefs serve as allies in community policing. Let officers be trained to understand the customs of the people they protect. Let dialogue precede deployment and mediation precede confrontation. This is not softness, it is intelligence. The future of public order lies not in louder sirens, but in stronger values, supported by competent, disciplined law enforcement.
Zo.
We hope the conversation we begin today will culminate in some institutional arrangement which should guarantee effective and respectful collaboration. You will no doubt be aware that among the guardians of traditions, we are fortunate to have eminent men like my own brother Togwe Sri, the Omefia of Alo, who before his entombment was one of the highest ranking of police officers, and he even served in Ashanti. You can have every assurance about the presence of a vast community of guardians of culture, ready to connect with you for a new era in nation building.
Sure.
We have conveyed our message of hope and progress to the Ghana Police Service. We have assured you of our gratitude for your faithful service and selfless sacrifices for our protection and safety. But we cannot conclude without acknowledging persistent public disquiet about lapses that undermine discipline and engender mistrust.
Sure.
We have to admit, however, attractive the arguments may be, there's going to be more than a mountain to climb if we ignore public concerns about police values.
Sure.
I have always believed that the discipline and the values instilled during training by the police and military shapes one for a lifetime. No one who goes through the training is ever in doubt about what the uniform represents and the values they profess to uphold when they bear the coat of arms. So it is puzzling, to say the least, when Ghanaians see men in uniform act publicly in a manner which evidently compromises the integrity of the service. They provide an escape route to doubters who will argue that if the men of the disciplined service cannot maintain their values, how can they expect civil society to be able to do so? As we embark on this journey together, we will urge you, IGP, and your devoted colleagues to seriously tackle issues affecting police integrity and public trust. It may well be necessary to reinforce or upskill the values you include in your men, so they are left in no doubt. Whatever they do which compromises the integrity of the police also dishonor the uniform and the coat of arms they bear. I also hope that you work towards making the service politically neutral. There will always be one government responsible for the state of Ghana, and as the police service of the state, you are sworn to be unalloyed in your loyalty to the government. But there must be a line drawn between the government and a political party, and I believe both government and the service will find it in their common interest for the police to be manifestly pursuing law enforcement with bias towards none, but without fear or favor, affection or ill will. When I survey the galaxy of agile men and women assembled before me today, I'm filled with confidence that you are up to any challenge that the year may throw up. And I encourage you to stick together in continued dedication to the upliftment of the service. To you, Dr. Christian Tetteh Yohuno, the IGP, I commend your leadership and encourage you to continue steering the service with firmness, fairness, and foresight. The work you have begun will outlive your tenure if anchored in values. Custodians of tradition, Nime, let us preserve our customs not as relics of nostalgia, but as living systems that cultivate discipline, peace, and justice. And to every citizen, remember that the destiny of this nation is shaped not only by laws passed in Parliament, but by conduct practiced in homes. When culture stands upright, crime bends low. When culture walks with law, society walks in peace. May the year 2026 bring all of us peace, charity, joy, and prosperity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, for your address. Thank you very much. At this point, the next item on the group photograph, I will call on our protocol department to take responsibility of the group photograph. Thank you very much. We've come to the end of this afternoon's program. The second part will also take place soon. Thank you. All personnel, please remain seated. You will be served here. Remain seated as our dignitaries will take leave of us. Please, our friends from the media, please don't leave us. Be with us until further instructions. Our friends from the media, please don't leave. You still wait for me for further instructions. Thank you.
At the police headquarters here in Accra, where the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu himself traveled all the way from the Asante region to pay that historic, iconic maiden call on the IGP Christian Tetteh Yohuno here at the police headquarters here in Accra. The two have been sharing some very remarkable words here in their various speeches. We'll take you to the IGP speech before the Otumfuo himself also made his official speech. The IGP Christian Tetteh Yohuno first starts by acknowledging the significant relationship between the Ghana Police Service and the Ashanti Kingdom in the last few years, or even down to history. He also went on to modern policing and its essence in the delivery of top-notch policing to the Ghanaian public. Went on to commend the Otumfuo for his role in ensuring peace in Ghana through his mediation of what he describes as complex crisis in Ghana. Cite example of his mediation of the Dagban crisis, as well as his latest conclusion of mediations in the Boku conflict. The Otumfuo for that. The IGP nicknamed the Otumfuo Ghana's Solomon in recent history. Also went ahead to acknowledge the contribution of the Otumfuo, especially to policing in the Ashanti region and the crackdown on criminal activities in the Ashanti region, as well as Otumfuo's contribution to the fight against illegal mining in Galamsey, especially when the police took the forth. The IGP led a task force last year to crack the whip on illegal mining. He said they've enjoyed some significant support from the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, and also concluding with his role in elevating education and other projects across the country, deepening culture and tradition, exporting Ghana's culture and tradition to the entire world, and also concluding that this visit, according to the IGP, would deepen collaboration between the police and traditional authorities, even beyond the Ashanti region, across the country. The Otumfuo, in his speech that just ended, acknowledged the relationship between the police and the Ashanti Kingdom. He, on a lighter note, indicated that, in fact, after inspecting that beautiful guard of honor that has been arranged in his honor, he wished that he is a police officer. I called on the IGP, on a lighter note, to get him a police uniform so that on his next visit he can appear like a police officer. Happy to see former IGP in this event, and praise the police for what he described as top-level policing delivery in the country. Acknowledge the dedication of officers to ensuring the safety of Ghanaians across the country, especially in some cases very harsh conditions, and went ahead to extol the role of significance of culture and traditional authority in maintaining law and order in society, underscores the need to blend two entities to improve law and order and security in today's society. The significant quote from him for the day has been that culture without law is nostalgia, and law without culture is only described as force without any significant result. And so those are the key takeaways from the Otumfuo speech this afternoon, where he also talked about the need for society to outsource the enforcement of law, should not outsource the enforcement of law alone to security agencies, by roping the authority of tradition to make this a whole. Call on the IGP significantly to work to redeem the lapsing integrity of the Ghana Police Service and the almost breakdown or distrust of the public in the Ghana Police Service. Those were his major calls to the IGP Christian Tetteh Yohuno. He also wants police training to be transformed in Ghana, where the training offered to the police should be enhanced by ensuring that societal values find its way into the training of police officers, where that would ensure that they acknowledge the role of traditional rulers, they acknowledge the role of values in society to ensure that they deliver, they enhance upon a top standard of policing to the general public. And so those are the highlights from the speech here of the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, who this afternoon has been paying a courtesy call on the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetteh Yohuno, here at the police headquarters. We'll try and see if we can get some of the government officials we are told would be part of that meeting. You see there the traditional authorities together with the top police officers making their way in there in order to commence that top security meeting between the IGP, former Inspector Generals of Police, to the Ghana Police Service, and the Otumfuo and other significant traditional rulers, including the President of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs, the Nungwa Manche, there. Let me try and see, big thought. Mr. President, I just want your quick thought on what has happened.
This is a great day for Ghana.
Yes.
It is historic. That is something that we all must be proud of. In fact, tradition, maybe with customary law, with law, or maybe with the constitution, as we all know. Otumfuo said something. He said, look, if the police, if the police does not respect customary law, cooperation will suffer. And I believe that this signifies that, look, all our laws are very important, including the customary law, including the traditional leaders. And for me, this is an embodiment of peace, embodiment of unity, that we are one, we are together. And for the fact that in recent years, and as he himself alluded to, we haven't witnessed such what we call an historic or such visit by Menchia on the Ghana Police Service or on the IGP. So for me, which is commendable, we are proud as a nation. This is beautiful, and I believe that when this continues, I believe it will really bridge the gap between the traditional leaders and that of the. Yes.
I'm interested in knowing how significant this is in the relationship between the police and we media men or journalists. What change do you expect this visit to bring to the relationship between the police and journalists as far as the safety of journalists are concerned?
For me, I think that, like I said, the media, especially under my watch as the GJ president, has really enjoyed enormous cooperation with the police under the current leadership of Yohuno, which is IGP Christian Yohuno. And so for me, I believe that this will even come to deepen that kind of relationship, because ever since Yohuno also paid historic visit, and in recent years, on record, let me put on record that no IGP has paid any courtesy call on the leadership of the GJA in recent years. Yohuno did that, and since he did that and gave us his word and assurance, we haven't recorded any casualty, any physical attack, anything. And for me, this is something which we are very proud of. And for you, so if you see me today here, it is because of the relationship. Today, the police have repented. Today, we have not for months, almost a year, recorded any attack by the police on journalists. Initially in the past, we see our men and women in uniform inflicting injuries on our members. Today, it has shifted. We have Ghana Fire Service. The fire service has rather taken the wheels. And today, we are going to address that menace. That impunity must stop. The evildoers who think that they will block and they will gag and they will inflict injuries on the media are going to be dealt with. This year, 2026, it will not be.
Is it not the case that at which some of these previous events are not resolved by the police? That is what is giving the impunity to others, including other security agencies, to inflict, violence on journalists.
We have said this several times. We have said over and over again. We have always raised and highlighted on cases that have not been dealt with and all that. But I have to be quick to say that under the current leadership, we have seen somebody, a perpetrator of media attack, being apprehended and being arraigned before court and has been remanded. Something that has not happened before. So in as much as that we are very much concerned about pending cases of assault where perpetrators or accused walk freely, we are also commending that, and for the first time, we have seen somebody who has attacked journalists and who has been put behind bars, who has even been remanded by the court. And so we are going to champion that. That look, and it's even aside the criminal prosecution, we are also going to take the civil prosecution. This time around, we are going both ways. We are taking both actions to protect our members. This afternoon, we are addressing the media on our position on the recent attack by the National Fire Service officers on our members, and we are going to deal with this matter on that.
Thank you so much, Albert Otumfuo, as president of the Ghana Journalists Association, kind to share some thoughts with us here at the police headquarters, where the Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has been meeting with the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tetteh Yohuno. That meeting has concluded. They have proceeded into a closed-door meeting between the two entities, the Otumfuo as well as the Ghana Police Service, in order to mark the end of this visit. And so, for those who've been watching and those who've just joined us, this has been our live coverage of the historic, the iconic meeting between tradition and policing in Ghana, where the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II has traveled all the way from the Asante region to meet the Inspector General of Police in a maiden visit to discuss security issues, where he, among other things, has called on the police to work hard to redeem the lapsing image integrity in the public eye and to gain the trust of the public. The two entities are going into a meeting behind closed doors to discuss what we have heard is going to be a top-level security issues concerning the safety of citizens in Ghana. From the police headquarters here in Accra, I am James Savage, reporting for Joy News as we keep touch on this and bring you all the updates in our subsequent bulletins. On pause at 3 p.m. we give you all the highlights as well as our subsequent updates on radio, TV, and all our social media platforms. Thank you so much for staying with us.